What's going on fashion-wise? Because I want to get to this last topic before we end this Friday edition.
So, guys, it is no secret that the fashion industry is not the most inclusive place in the world. I used to work in the fashion industry. You usually have the one-size-fits-all model, but there is a new company, or not a new company, there's a new ad campaign for a company called Missguided, popular fashion label for women, usually millennial women, that came out with a cool ad campaign representing people that don't usually get limelight. People with scars, people with burn marks, people with birthmarks on their face, or something is different about them. And yet they're featured in this ad campaign, and it's really cool. It's called In My Skin, or In Your Skin. And it's just got everyone talking about how we can move the industry forward and how people feel more included when they see images like this. And I know we have a lot of those pictures that we can show you. They're just bringing them up in the background.
Got it. I think this is great. Obviously, I always talk about it. Representation matters. Why?
Yes.
Right? The big why. Why does it matter just to have brown faces or black faces or faces with birthmarks exploited, if you will? It's not necessarily. It's think about the next generation, and that's what I'm always concerned about. Generation Z, your kids who are growing up, who can all of a sudden look in a magazine, and if your kids happen to have something that they didn't look like the rest of the world, and they could identify all of a sudden with just one other human being, one other human being that is being sponsored by an entire company, then they go, oh, maybe my birthmark is cool. It's like the psyche all of a sudden looks at that birthmark and goes, oh, okay, it's not so bad after all. And if you can stop bullying in a lot of cases that way, I mean, a lot can happen, I think, with that next generation. That's positive.
I love that. A few years ago, I believe it was Dior, brought in a campaign with the woman that has two different color skins. I don't remember what the disease is called. I believe Michael Jackson had it. Yes. Okay, she has the most beautiful combination of skin colors, and they made it a beauty, a makeup campaign, and that was blowing people's minds. But now to see in this Missguided ad different body shapes, different skin types. There's an albino woman in there. It's just incredible to see some of this. I hope that we can get some of the images up for them so they can see them.
You know, if you're a business, it's about making money, right? You want your customers to connect to your product, and you want them to buy it. There's not very many, 5'10", 5'11", size 0, size 2, Eastern European facial structure out in the wild. There's some of that, but that's a very small segment of the population. So if that's the only thing that you use to sell your product or to advertise, you're actually missing a huge opportunity to say, I look like that, and if I use this product, it would enhance what I already have going on for myself. So that's an opportunity. So I think this is really late to come to the game.
Right.
Really.
You're actually, it's not that riveting. I can see your point of that.
Yeah,
I mean, think about Fenty Beauty, right? So it's Rihanna's makeup line, and she was really smart in putting everything. This was right after the Kim Kardashian beauty line came out. And she had every single color. She still has every single color
I want to zoom in
on the spectrum when it comes to makeup, from someone who is on this side of the spectrum extremely pale, and this side of the spectrum extremely dark, and everything in between. And she got a lot of praise for that because it was like finally someone is saying every single color versus just light brown and dark brown and a couple in between. So Walt, I'd like to know from you as a parent, how do you think this holds up? You have a teenage daughter in the house. Does this matter?
I think it's incredible because, we'll have discussions with our kids and we'll talk about, someone who's recently got into shape or something. And then there's a different level. It's like I'll hear, well, were you fat shaming them? I'm like, no, not at all. So everybody's extremely conscious now, especially about their body shape, body type, and how it's okay to be whoever you are now. And that it doesn't. So cool. You don't have to be what people think, and you take ownership of. I mean, you certainly try to eat healthy and do the best that you can. But if you're a large size, or even if you're extremely skinny, it's like, hey, that's me.
Does that take pressure off of you as a parent?
I don't know that it takes pressure off, because I think we have our own ideas of who and what healthy looks like, and other people have different ideas. And I think, if you have a child who's extremely thin, for me, I'm like, wow, you probably would but be healthier. I mean, you clearly are lacking in some fruits, vegetables, and protein. But, it could go either way. But I really think it's different now than it was when I was a kid. It's just everybody was in search of that perfect body. And now today's generations are like, this is me. and everybody seems to be more accepting of everybody across the board on any type of issue.
And I wonder if that, like my brother grew up, and still to this day has it. He has a large birthmark that goes even over his lip.
Okay.
And it goes all the way down, all the way across his chest.
Wow.
And I remember as a young girl, my brother's 2 years older than me, but always feeling really bad for him because there was bullying that definitely happened where dark complected, his birthmark in the summer would get a little darker. And he did go through that. And as a sister, but I always had this protective side of me. Like I would get vicious with like any kind of bullies. It would take a lot out of the family. And my mom would always, and they even talked about getting laser done and having it lightened, but it was it was eventually going to get darker. So we ended up having to live with it. And now I don't even see it. And now this day and age, he's on Instagram and I see him doing his little stories. And he's like flaunting it. And I'm like,
I love that.
It makes me emotional because I'm like, finally we got past that as a family now. You know, but that's different. If you were to have that in 2018, would we celebrate it? Would we want to go to the doctor and try to get it
No, he could be a model and he could say, look, this is me and I'm representing these other people. We have Denise Cunningham Troya who says, as a kid, she felt different and teased for what she calls her Celtic freckles. And as a teen, she finally saw models in magazines with freckles, and then she ended up modeling for a top photographer. It's that inspiration that you get from the women and men that you see in magazines that can cause people to do careers like this. I was so afraid to be in TV before because I don't look like everyone else. Normally I have curly hair, I wear glasses. Like these are not things that I saw on TV growing up. But how cool is that? That you can be exactly who you, I wear boho clothes on TV. I don't wear dresses all the time.
Awesome. Not everyone can get away with that. True. That is awesome. Robbie, we're going to say one last thing.
No, it's just funny. You mentioned the freckles. One of the hot trends lately is to actually add freckles to your face. Because guess what, folks? Whatever. I mean, just be who you are and project it. And the most important thing, what's the hottest thing in the world? Confidence.
Yes.
So the more you believe in yourself, and you project that, people say, I want to hang out with that person.
Oh, I love
Hey, Mason, come here. Do I see little freckles? Are these little freckles?
No, what you see is confidence.
Hey!
No, this is called the ravages of time.
Oh my gosh.
But I earned all these, so I'm happy with it.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
There's a story behind all of these.
Thank you, everyone.
And we'll hear them.
At some point. Thank you for that. Thanks so much for watching the ABC 10 Information Network. If you want to see more stories just like this one, all you've got to do is click subscribe.